friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a Hooters Storytime video with you. I'm gonna try to do my best to keep it simple because there's literally so many stories that relate to my time working as a Hooter girl. It would literally take multiple hours to talk about. So in the Storytime, I'm gonna be sharing the strange hiring process to be a Hooter girl, the Hooters magazine that I was in, why I furiously quit one Hooters to work at another one, how much I made as a Hooter girl, the strict rules that we had to follow, and addressing some typical myths about Hooter girls. Make sure that you guys stay tuned until the end of this video because I'm going to be trying on my Hooters outfit that I haven't tried on in like 6 or 7 years. So I was 21 years old and I had just got my boobs done, and I talked about this in a previous Storytime video. It was my first Storytime video that I've ever done. If you guys haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. I'll link it right here and down below. So after I got my boobs done, I really wanted to try modeling. And at this time, I had been working on an at-home business that I started, but because I was really young and inexperienced, it wasn't really taken off. So Chris was really the only one that was earning income at this time. Me being me, I really didn't like not working. So the TV show The Girls Next Door was really popular at this time. And in one of the episodes, Holly mentioned that she used to work as a Hooter girl, and she just made it seem like the most fun job in the world. So I was like really intrigued and curious about what it was like to be a Hooter girl. So I would read like personal blog posts and like Yahoo Answers about what it was like to be a Hooter girl. So one day I had gone to a casting call for a modeling gig, and I realized that the location of the casting call was going to be near the Dublin Hooters, which was the closest Hooters to me where I was living at the time. So after the casting call, I decided to drop by the Hooters on my way home, and so I ended up going in, and I remember the outfit that I was wearing. I'm gonna include the picture right here for you guys. This wasn't the same day when the picture was taken, but it was the same outfit, so I thought I'd just give you guys a visual. So when I walked into the Hooters in Dublin, California, I asked the hostess if I can apply. And I guess it was a rule to have the manager come out and meet the girl who wants to be a Hooter girl before they actually hand them an application. And I later found out that the reason why the manager comes out is because he wants to determine whether he wants to interview you on the spot or to send you home with an application just to be like filed away somewhere. So the manager came out and he decided to interview me on the spot. And so we walked back to a empty table that was in the back of the restaurant. It was slow that day. It was like during lunchtime. And so back there I was supposed to like fill out the application, and once I was done doing that, I would start the interview. And so I was like really preparing myself for those hard-hitting interview questions that are typically asked. So I was expecting the questions like, how would you handle an unhappy customer? I was prepared to answer, how well do you know the restaurant business? But I didn't get asked any of those hard-hitting typical interview questions. But I did tell him that I was a hostess at Red Lobster when I was 16, but he didn't really seem to care about that. As a matter of fact, he ended up talking about himself for most of the interview, which I thought was really weird. So I can tell that the only thing that he really cared about was how well I can hold a conversation and how well my personality came off. I've had probably like 11 or 12 jobs up until this point because I started working at a very young age. I started working when I was 14. So to me, this was like the weirdest interview and the easiest interview that I have ever gone through. I don't know, the manager was like really weird. He just gave me like this southern boy douchey Matthew McConaughey vibe. He just had this like womanizer kind of attitude, which, you know, I didn't really know what to expect walking into Hooters restaurant. Maybe this is just how all the managers are, so I just like let it slide. So long story short, I ended up getting hired on the spot, and I was given my very first Hooter girl uniform with the orange booty shorts, the overly tight tank top, the white tube socks, and those god-awful tan tights, which I actually later ended up loving because they suck in your legs and they make you look constantly tan, and you don't even have to worry about if you don't shave for like a week. So I ended up taking the menu home because my homework was just to learn the menu, and so they decided to start me off on the lunch shifts for my first 3 days while I was training so that I don't get overwhelmed by the crazy dinner rush. So I ended up having to shadow some girl so that I can learn like everything about the job. So soon enough, I was learning that when you approach your table, you take a seat with them, and as you're introducing yourself, you take out a napkin and you doodle your name across the napkin with some hearts, and you leave it on their table just in case they forget your name. Hey, it was a part of the Hooters experience, and customers seemed to think it was a cute touch. So I eventually started to work the dinner shifts on my own, and if you have ever been a waitress in your life, you know that it is one of the most mentally and physically challenging jobs that one can ever have. Honestly, not everyone can be a waitress. A lot of people probably think that, oh, being a waitress is so easy. You just like take their orders and like bring their food out to them and check on them. No, not everyone can do this job. You literally have to be the best multitasker ever. And I know a lot of people might think that being a Hooter girl, all you have to do is show up, look hot, deliver some wings and some beer on a platter with your boobs popping out, and that's all there is to it. Hell no. Being a Hooter girl is just as difficult, stressful, and fast-paced as a waitress at any other restaurant, if not even more stressful, because we always have to smile, always be bubbly and cute, constantly entertain, remember orders, dealing with mistakes on orders, taking out the trash, replacing silverware, busting your own tables, refilling the glasses, and if you're out of any supplies in the front, you have to go to the back yourself and bring it out yourself, and make sure that your hair and makeup is still on point through all of this. We also have to make sure that we read our customers too. For example, in my whole Hooter girl experience, if a girl is with their boyfriend and the girl looks really uncomfortable to be there, you can't do the normal things like sit down with them, be super bubbly and cute. I mean, you could, but we all know how girls can be. Like, I get it. I won't overstep on a girl who's obviously really uncomfortable to have a Hooter girl serving her and her man at a Hooters restaurant. I mean, like, what did she think was going to be serving her? Like the Golden Girls or something? So yeah, reading the customers is really important because a lot of the times, if you make an uncomfortable girl even more uneasy, you aren't getting a tip. Regardless of the excellent service that you provided, that's just how it works. By the way, it was not always like that at all. And most of the time, the girls that came as customers were really, really friendly. A couple of times, in my experience, a little too friendly. So about the Hooters magazine that I was in. So I was only working for Hooters for like 1 week, and I got pulled aside by my manager, and he asked me if I would be interested in being in the Hooters magazine. And I was really shocked. I was like, whoa, that's like a quick move. So my manager told me to go ahead and submit my bikini photo off to headquarters so that they can give the final approval for me to be in the magazine. So I ended up sending them a couple of photos that I will include right here. So the day of the shoot, I was in San Francisco on the beach in the freezing cold. And if you've ever been in San Francisco, you know that it's absolutely freezing, even on the beach. The beach never gets hot. It was like literally 50 degrees there. And so I had to wear the two-piece bikini, but here's a photo that they took. So I actually don't have the magazine with me, but I'm gonna go ahead and find it. And when I do find it, I'm gonna post it on Snapchat for you guys. So make sure that you guys go ahead and follow me on Snapchat so you guys can check that out once I find it. So I was really pissed one day and I decided to quit because the manager did something to me that I was so furious about. So what happened was I had been working at this Dublin Hooters for probably a month only. I was really starting to not enjoy my time working at this restaurant because the manager was just really kind of degrading and would kind of like mention these things to like the girls in this messed up way to where he knew that they couldn't say anything back to him. Like he would do things like kind of forcefully like push on the shoulders and the back of girls who weren't like standing completely straight up. He was just kind of an a-hole. So at this time, my grandma was really, really sick, and she was actually going to be flying home to the Philippines with my mom and my aunt because she wanted to spend whatever time she had left in her own country with her family. So I wanted to talk to my manager about not coming into work that day because of what was going on, because I knew that once my grandma boarded that plane, that would be the last time that I ever saw her. So I asked my boss if I can take that day off, and he had the nerve to respond to me with, "We really need you for that shift. Are you and your grandma even that close?" I didn't even know how to answer this. I didn't know how to defend myself from him at this time. So I was just really pissed, but I ended up giving in and I told him, fine, I'd be there. And he ends the conversation by giving me a nudge on my arm and saying, "You're a rock star." That's how we ended the conversation. So the next day, I ended up quitting, and a week later, Chris, Lexini, and I actually ended up moving to Sacramento, where I got a job at another Hooters, and I ended up working there for like a year. And I can honestly say that this is one of my favorite years that I've ever had. So the new Hooters that I worked at was in Natomas, California, which is just another division of Sacramento, and it was perfect in any way that a Hooter girl could ever dream. The three managers were so respectful and were even like big brothers get-togethers to all of the girls. The energy was always so happy and upbeat, and the restaurant just had this loving family vibe. Lexini, my daughter, actually ended up being best friends with my general manager's daughter, who was in the same kindergarten class as her. It was just a great experience for us as a family. So about how much Hooter Girls make. Everyone always wonders how much Hooter Girls make, and at the time, Hooter Girls were making minimum wage plus tips. And obviously, the majority of our earnings came from our tips. So the main demographic of our customers at the restaurant was professional working men who always came in groups, and they kind of had this unspoken rule that when you tip at the Hooters restaurant, you're really gonna tip more than what you would pay like at a standard restaurant. So I would take home between like $100 to $400 a night on tips. And when I would make the $300 to $400 range in tips was usually on nights that were like really busy with like football games or like the Super Bowl or like UFC matches, you know, special events where it was completely packed and the guys came in like big groups and they ordered a ton of beer and a ton of food and stayed for hours. So those were awesome nights to work. The $100 range of tips was usually when it was like slow or like a standard normal lunch shift. And I gotta say, that's one thing that I miss about being a waitress is that when you leave your shift for the night, you're always leaving with cash in hand. Thinking about this makes me like want to be a Hooter Girl again. Too old for that. So as far as the rules that we have to follow as Hooter Girls, you can't have any visible tattoos. So like the girls that do have tattoos that were in areas that were exposed on their uniform, they would have to wear like this special foundation or cover up that really covered up tattoos. Your nails have to be like clean. So they can either be like bare with like a clear nail polish, a nude nail polish, or like French tip. You can never have your hair tied up in any way, no bobby pins or anything. So your hair always has to be down, and you literally have to have like a full face of hair and makeup on at all times. And as far as the bra, you're only allowed to wear like tan or white bras so that nothing's visible underneath your shirt. So some myths and misconceptions about Hooter Girls that I would like to clear up are: number one, do you have to have huge boobs to work there? No, boobs of all sizes are welcome. Myth number two is that we're obligated to tan and constantly whiten our teeth and go to the gym constantly in order to be a Hooter Girl. That's not true at all. I actually ended up gaining weight while working at Hooters. Myth number three is, and this is my favorite misconception of all Hooter Girls are insecure skanks who have daddy issues. Look, a lot of us girls were there to pay for college, and a lot of Hooter Girls, you'd be surprised at how many went on to become doctors and lawyers and politicians and CEOs. We're not skanks, we're not sluts, whatever. We're waitresses. We're not standing around dancing on a pole. And I can't speak for other girls, but my dad raised me right. So bottom line, working at Hooters taught me not to take things so seriously in life and taught me to have fun and enjoy the choices that I make in life, because we should be making our lives interesting. I actually enjoyed being a Hooter Girl, and I consider it an honor to have been, because I learned so much about life and people and work ethic from working there. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my old Hooter Girl uniform, dust it off a little bit, and try it on for you guys for the first time in like 6 or 7 years for me. So this one's the official football uniform for the Hooter Girls, and we wore this on like football Sundays and like football Mondays and different things like that. And this is just the black version of what I'm wearing right now. Yeah, it's just so cool to like put it on after all these years. I actually just realized that I gave my sister my only tank top that I had. I thought I had like 2 of them, which is why I gave her one. So as you can see, our store name is across the back. We worked at the Natomas Hooters, the best Hooters there ever was. So yeah, this is what I used to prance around in on my professional working days as a Hooter Girl. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more about my Hooter Girl experience, such as the drama with customers, my fellow Hooter Girl cattiness, craziest things that girls have ever done while working, the story about how I was actually stalked at Hooters, there's literally so much to tell. So make sure you hit the like button or comment down below if you guys are interested in more videos like this. So if I get enough comments comments and likes from this video. I'll definitely be making more storytime videos for you guys. But yeah, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel by hitting that red button down below and follow me on social media. I'll have all of my links listed down below as well. As always, I love you guys very much and I'll talk to you later. Bye!